everyone, how you doing? And a very warm welcome to Grow Up, the Garden Farm channel from Wi-Fi Sheep with me, Tom. This is the new name for the former Belvedere and Abbey Garden Farm channel. If you want to know why the changes happened, it's over in my intro video, but just to explain, basically this might be the last year we're here on the site. We may be moving away from the Belvedere and Abbey area, and I thought the channel needed a bit more of a generic open plan, a slightly more fun name, so hence we've gone with Grow Up, the Garden Farm. Still here on the current site for this year, but we probably could well be moving by the end of this year, that's 2024. So we may be splitting across two sites, which is going to be fun to say the least. Anyway, in this video I want to update you on everything we've got going. It is still spring here in the UK. I'm recording this on the 28th of April 2024, and it has been so cold, which has put so much pressure on what we're trying to do and has delayed things. Spring and summer really haven't come yet. We're in British summer time now, in the time zone, but it's so cold, hence the, I've got multiple layers on the woolly hat. It's just not warming up, which, as I said, is causing havoc with what we're doing here on this channel and this project. Anyway, I want to take you on a tour, so let me show you what we've got going on. We'll start with here in the greenhouse where all the plants are kind of sheltering at the moment, and I'll take you outside to show you what we've got going on. Thermometer says 14 degrees C, just under 60 Fahrenheit, but yeah, it just feels so cold, which is a problem. So here is the greenhouse where the majority of my plants and crops for this year are still hiding. I've been doing a bit of work, and actually the greenhouse is relatively tidy for once. So let's just go through very quickly what I've got going on. So these were the kind of seed trays we started with. This was the pea stock that I haven't taken out yet, although most of them I have. Cauliflower and sprouts, which haven't done particularly well, as you can see. And then here and down here, this is the glass gem corn. So this year the plan is to, as one of the main crops, the plan is to grow glass gem, which is a kind of multicoloured corn. I have tried it before, but it ended up being a flint based corn, which isn't really edible. It's not a sweet corn, sorry. It was more animal feed or popcorn. I'm really hoping that this stuff I've bought, I've had to order it online especially, it's not something you can domestically get hold of. I'm really hoping that this stuff is going to be what is branded as a sweet corn while still having this multicoloured kernels. So this year it's an experimental crop. I've planted a lot of it. So I've got this one here, and we've also got stuff down here in these trays. This is probably going to stay undercover here in the greenhouse all year, so we'll see how well it does. The other crop I've got going on is pumpkin. Now, we had an amazing pumpkin season last year. It really went well. So I really want to try and duplicate that with more pumpkins this year. I grow them and I sell them to egg customers around the Halloween time, so around the kind of October, November time. And they actually do quite well. So we've got many different varieties. This is a grey pumpkin that I can't remember the name of. And it's actually something we bought from a supermarket 2 years ago. Harvested the seeds, and I'm going to try and recreate and replant my own. So that's the grey variety. We have got jack-o'-lanterns, which is your traditional orange, smaller orange pumpkins there. And then this is a mystery pumpkin that we seeded, or took the seeds from, but then didn't label what it was. I have a feeling it's a large orange variety, which is kind of like knobbly, so it's not a smooth pumpkin, and it kind of looks kind of almost slightly grotesque, witch-like. So I think for trying to sell for the Halloween period, hopefully that's what they are. And I've got a couple of them here, so hopefully we'll get at least one pumpkin per plant when these are ready to go outside. I'll just show you this over here. So this is Portuguese cabbage. These are two plants here that survived over the winter. This was all taken from the original plant that was given to me by a neighbour. That plant's no longer with us, but I did take the seed stock and I'm trying to grow up new ones. Now, I did have 3 of these, but they got pretty much attacked and mangled by mice. We had a huge infestation of mice in here over the winter, unfortunately, and they started eating everything. So these were the survivors. They actually had to come in the house over winter. Now they're back out here. They don't look particularly amazing, but they are doing okay. And then this is new stock from some of the seed I saved. So hopefully we can have a couple of new Portuguese cabbage plants. They do work quite well. and I might even be able to get those sold at some point in the near future, so we'll see. Over here, gherkin, beginnings of gherkin. Hopefully these will go. I've never had gherkin work successfully, so we'll see if that works. On top here, this stuff that my fiancée Anna bought in for me. These are a reduced stock of broad beans and runner beans, and these actually came from a garden centre, and they were reduced to clear. So sometimes we actually buy a lot of the sort of nursery, end-of-life nursery plants, see if we can actually cultivate them here instead of trying to go direct from seed. So I didn't actually put any broad beans in this year. Normally I do, but I didn't put any in this year, again because of time restraints. So this stock is, I have watered it, but it really does need to go in the ground, possibly today actually. So we'll see if we can get this stock in and see how well it does. Peas is another thing we're going to try. This is Sugar Snap, which I'm trying to encourage to grow up. The runners, so these have all been repotted. Yeah, and we're getting there, but it's just been so cold. Another pumpkin is another glass gem corn. It's the only corn I'm growing is glass gem this year. And then I have got some tomatoes that are sort of beginning to start, but again, it's just not got the temperature for it. So yeah, lots going on here in the greenhouse, but really I want to get the mass majority of these plants outside. Let's go and have a look at the chickens, because I know many of you will want to see the chickens, not just me talking about plants. So they've just had their breakfast. Been let out. Hello, someone's been eating an egg. Yes, you've been eating an egg, which isn't great. Anyway, let's just so here we are then. This is the chickens. No quail, unfortunately. The quail we had to finish, so the quail pen doesn't actually have any quail in it, and it's used purely for chickens. We haven't had a bird flu pandemic this year, which is amazing. It's the first time we've not had one. So the girls have been able to be out most of the winter when they've wanted to come out. They're doing alright. We have 11 at the moment, including these two which are relatively new. These are mottled leghorns. So that's a traditional leghorn with the white, or Kellogg's cornflake bird as I call it. That's a leghorn. And these are the mottled variety, so it's the same bird but they have a brown mottled plumage as opposed to the plain white. Silky, who doesn't really produce any, she is very old now. And then the rest are, that's a light Sussex, but the rest are mainly the Warren, which are your brown battery hen. But some of them are, again, getting on a little bit. This one over here, Bucky, is, yeah, she's getting on a bit. She's quite old now, poor thing. So we're kind of expecting that some of them will pass on at some point. Others are in their second year of us. This is Daisy. Yes, all the chickens do have names. Hello, come on. No, don't want to be touched. Fine. Some are also more friendly than others, but yeah, they're still producing a good amount of eggs. I was able to sell. I've sold about 36 eggs over this weekend, which isn't bad, and I'll definitely be able to sell some more next week. So yeah, it does make some folding money. It's the only livestock we have at the moment. I would like to expand it, but as I said, I don't know what's happening with the move. We do want to take them with us, but we need to give them a suitable home to live in. So we may need to shrink the flock down, but that will happen over time, especially some of the older birds. As I said, pass on, and then we can decide what we want to do. What I am thinking is we may standardise. So things like, we did have 2 speckledy, but unfortunately one of them had a prolapse and unfortunately didn't live much longer, but she had a lot of health issues. This one's been much better. They're all right, but they're not perfect. So what I would like to do is leghorn, the white leghorn variety, possibly light Sussex, so this one here, and Warren, which is your absolute common battery hen. The cheapest type of chicken you can buy is a Warren. They're around, at the moment, they're around £15. They used to be about £12, about £15 each, as opposed to £20–30 or more you can pay for the more traditional breeds. So that's the kind of breeds I'd like to settle on when we try and standardise this flock going forward. But no, they're doing great. and although I think some of them, yeah, some of them unfortunately I think are a bit tired, which is fine, but yeah, poor thing. There's one thing I've learnt with chickens, there's not an awful lot you can do. It's actually the same with most birds actually. When they sort of get ailments, I mean, you can make them comfortable, there are things you can give them, but you kind of need to let nature take its course, as long as it's not something hyper infectious that's going to take out the rest of the flock. These older birds, and especially that one who's a good few years old now, in the commercial system she would have been cold 2-3 years ago. I keep them way too long really, so we don't cull anything here unless it's absolutely necessary, so we let them live out a natural life, even if, like Silky here, they're not actually producing anything. So yeah, so I imagine she's probably going to leave us soon of her own natural cause, but that's fine. And at the moment we probably won't replace, because the rest of the flock are producing enough eggs, so we're doing alright. Yes, I know, I hear you. Right, let's leave the chickens be. Let's just carry on with the rest of the garden tour really quick then. Running a bit low on battery on the camera actually, so let's see if we can get this done. So, first bed has been opened. Onions are under here. I bought them as seed bulbs, so they weren't seed, they were bulbs which have actually gone in, and basically the bulbs will just hopefully expand out into onions. First time I've ever tried growing onions, so we'll see how well that works. Hence the cloche, because the onions are a little vulnerable to being eaten, so that's under there. That's a new stock of compost we get for an amazingly large amount of compost, so that's new compost. This bed is not open, it's been used for storage of all sorts of things, and I've tried to keep tarpaulins and stuff on top of it to try and keep the weeds down. It sort of worked, but other places it hasn't. But this bed does need opening, mainly probably today actually. I need to get the beans in. Next we have potato. Now this is King Edward variety, which came from seed potato, which I put in, and again it's just been so cold, but you can see we have now started to get the first potato plants up. So potato is one crop that does work really well here. I do need to do a bit of weeding, but hopefully that'll be alright. Next door, this all needs a major amount of work. This is actually where the corn is going to go, and the peas are going to go here, and this frame will actually be resurrected, and it's going to be used as the poly greenhouse, which is going to go over this site here to protect some of the corn. So I've got a lot of work to do. At the moment none of this has been cultivated this year, so this is potato stock that got left over from when we grew potatoes last year. That needs to all come out. And over here, spring onion that probably nearly finished actually. It was grown last year and never came up, so again all this needs clearing. And this is or was the fruit bed. Still got the blackberry, blackcurrant bushes in, but the strawberry patch is a complete disaster. And to be honest with you, considering time is not on my side, and this really isn't going to be my problem much longer, we're probably going to leave this bed this year. We're just trying to keep the brambles and the weeds down. And finally, let me show you this. Now this is the pumpkin patch, and this kind of setup worked an absolute dream last year. So basically this is a border bed with a hedge, and it's infected by this ground alder, which just gets absolutely everywhere and comes off, if I can actually pick a piece out, comes off a kind of taproot, which is all under here. I've trimmed it all back, but even since I've trimmed it a couple of weeks ago, it's all sprouting back in exposed areas. But in order to use this space, what I've done is I've put down this black plastic. This is just heavy duty rubble sacks that I've cut up, and I've just pegged with plastic pegs into the ground. And then on top of that, I've been collecting tyres. Now growing pumpkins in tyres works really, really well. Basically it's expensive to fill these up with compost, but we fill them up with bought compost material, and I put 2 pumpkin plants per tyre, one in that plastic ceramic-y coloured pot over there, and basically they don't have any competition from any of the plants for the nutrients, so it just uses the nutrients in that compost. And because it's on this protective membrane, the infectious plant underneath, the ground alder, can't shoot through the tyre and infect the soil. So it's a fantastic way of reusing a space. It also, with this black plastic, reflects the light. It keeps things a little bit warmer, so it sort of radiates the heat from the plastic back up, so the plants are a little bit warmer during the summer. And we actually did really well with the crop last year. Admittedly, I didn't have as much plastic, so the ground alder kind of swamped all around the tyres. But yeah, I'm looking forward to, as soon as it warms up enough, I'm going to fill these up. I won't do it now, because if I fill it up with compost now, the water will drain a lot of the nutrients out, and also weeds or sort of floating pollen seeds could start sprouting in it. So I'll fill these as soon as we're ready to put the pumpkins in, which, who knows, could be a week or two. Right, so yeah, lots going on, lots to think about, and lots of uncertainties for the future right now, but I will try and keep you a little bit more updated this year as we get through the growing season. I won't be doing so many regular updates on this particular channel just because we've got to let things grow and it takes time, but I will update you as hopefully the weather and the seasons improve. If you're brand new around here, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed the content. I hope you're going to join me for this slightly uncertain, unknown, but hopefully very enjoyable journey. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you real soon right here on this channel. Until next time, thanks so much for your company. Bye for now.